Monday, June 12th, 2017 at 6:03 p.m. Roll call, Sheila.
Stephanie Brzett.
Here.
Cindy Garrity.
Here.
Larry Derrigan.
Here.
Nicole Boyd.
Here.
Craig Footman.
Here.
Rocky Turkovich. Deb Knopf.
Here.
Everyone please rise for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sheila, can you confirm the meeting posting?
I can confirm that the meeting agenda has been posted at all the designated locations.
Thank you. Item number 5, entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, from the audience this evening, we have a few. First, we have Mr. Doran.
All right, where would you like me to?
Right on camera.
Like this?
Works. Well, now they know.
Okay, well, I'm speaking as a staff member at Bayfield School, and I'm speaking on the 10.2.5 on the health insurance coverage, specifically raising the deductible and dropping the supplemental HRA. I have a few concerns about that, and what those relate to are what I believe our school's most valuable asset, and your most valuable asset as school board members are the experienced teachers at Bayfield School. The second most important asset are the teachers that maybe have 3, 4, 5 years. So the younger teachers that have put in a few years with the district. And the reason why I think that those are the most valuable is, again and again, we've been told and we have experienced how important it is to build a relationship with our students. That's probably, the students are going to remember who taught the class more than what they're going to remember what the subject is. Data shows us again and again that the relationship that teachers have had with their students is what's going to determine student success. So I'm really concerned about the healthcare package and increasing those deductibles, which I feel is essentially then a pay cut, especially those middle teachers that have some experience, but they're able to now shop around. And if we don't keep those teachers that have started to build a relationship with our students and offer them a package that's going to be competitive with other school districts, competitive with the issues that relating to living up here in Bayfield and teaching in the Bayfield school, I think that's, I would strongly recommend not cutting that or adding that deductible, raising that deductible with the possible impact of teachers taking a look at other school districts with better packages, closer to home, better travel conditions. So I hope as you make your decisions as a school board that you look at keeping these middle teachers, and rewarding them for sticking in with our district, because it'll improve our district in the long run. So, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Barb Ralph.
First of all, just here because I'm concerned about the issue, and last time we had met on this issue as a task force was January 25th, and so my biggest question is what the rush is, and that we did not meet again as a group to discuss the pros and cons of the choices that we're making, because I realize there is health savings account plans out there that a lot of employees take advantage of. We're not offered that, with this situation. And I guess I just have one question as far as budgeting goes. I can't say that I understand budgets and all that's, goes on in Bayfield School District. But in 2008, I had $22,846 as my benefit from the school district for the year of 2008. And the last year, 2016, I had $15,108 as a benefit. So there's a $7,000 discrepancy just with myself. So I'm wondering why now it's so expensive to continue this policy. I realize health insurance has gone up tremendously. However, that's a huge number in difference as far as, because each employee now does contribute 12.6% of our take-home pay for the policy, which we did not do, that many years ago. So that's just a question I want to put before the board.
Thank you. Next we have Rick Erickson.
I have my stuff written, and I can also hand it out to you. And I also have, Eric Iverson wasn't able to be here, so there's a letter also from him. I'm gonna talk fast, because I know there's a 3-minute limit, so, I'll do the best I can. All right, so first, I'm Rick Erickson, a Bayfield Town resident, also a teacher in the school. And I'm here also to talk about the health insurance agenda item. So I'm going to start with what we as a staff understand. We're well aware that the healthcare program is one of the best in the area because we prioritized healthcare over salary during years of mutual negotiations with the district. And working together, we've been able to establish healthy salaries and benefits while simultaneously maintaining a healthy financial position for the district. That's a benefit to me as a teacher. It's also a benefit to me as a district taxpayer. And the value of having a salary structure and benefits ranking among the best in the area is very important. Last Friday morning, Dr. Aslan told the story of a Wisconsin education professional who 5 years ago told him he should rethink his decision to come to Bayfield because this individual wouldn't even send his dog to the school. That's the public sentiment that we sometimes face. If we want to attract and retain quality teachers in this district, we have to have one of the best salary benefit packages in the area. With the current teacher shortages across the country and the state, we're competing for quality teachers. Last year we had an opening and didn't have a single certified applicant for the position, and I'm sure our pool of applicants for the 2 elementary positions is extremely limited as well. Lori and I meet several times each year with aspiring educators, and they are all using the post-Act 10 teacher market situation to shop around. So, what's proposed? At a focus group meeting earlier this year, the teaching staff and support staff listed health insurance aspects that were important to us. We also indicated that if something had to change, it would be our preference to raise deductibles if there were HRA and HSA options to reduce the impact of the change. At the Finance Committee meeting last Thursday, we learned that the recommended change would indeed increase deductibles but eliminate the current HRA. That will result in out-of-pocket deductible changes from $100, $200 to $1,000, $2,000. That's a big change. I'm here to present an option that I hope you will discuss when this item comes up on the agenda. I understand that keeping the current healthcare program in conjunction with the HRA would cost the district slightly over $100,000, while the district has preliminarily budgeted for $100,000 savings. And I understand that the proposed changes would result in a $43,000 savings, still short of the $100,000 savings goal. So what I'm proposing is a compromise. The district could lessen the impact on the staff by changing to the proposed $1,000, $2,000 deductible while keeping the current level of HRA contribution. That would result in an out-of-pocket deductible increase from $100, $200 to $600, $1,200, a considerably more palatable impact on the district staff. And it would result in district health care costs remaining unchanged from last year to this year. That seems like a decent compromise and a healthy option. I believe the district is in a financial position to make this offer. You can see from the impact aid chart that I passed out that the district annually receives more impact aid funds each year, I guess that's what annually means, than projected in the budget. I believe the conservative impact aid projections are a result of very prudent managing. However, I hope you also recognize it provides the district with room to breathe. The probability is high that the district will continue to receive more impact aid funds than is budgeted each year because of prudent managing and conservative projections. I assume the district projected somewhere around $1.5 million this year, and I'm confident there will be a surplus more than enough to offset my proposed compromise in healthcare costs. So my suggestion is to wipe the $100,000 healthcare savings off the preliminary budget and increase the impact aid revenue projection by $100,000. And if next year is an anomaly, the district's fund balance is healthy enough to absorb that deficit. I'm certainly not proposing we purposefully reduce the fund balance, yet I also recognize a slight decrease would keep the fund balance over $5 million, an amount well in excess of what is recommended by the state. I hope you'll consider this proposal, and ultimately I hope the district will work with us through the 2017-18 school year to address solutions to this issue. We believe our voice at the table is valuable, and by working together, we are more likely to resolve issues that impact students, staff, and community. Miigwech, Bisindawieg.
Next, on the side.
Oh, can I stand up here, is that okay? Sure. All right, thanks. First of all, thank you, school board, I appreciate what you do. I'm a little confused about the insurance and what's going on. I don't understand, they're gonna take this away, but then they're gonna add this, and this will change your deductible, but then we can do a flex one, and then we can do this, we can do that, and I'm a pretty educated person. And I went to the finance committee and I listened. I did go to a meeting we had this year to tell us that we were gonna do some searching for insurance and do some bidding, and after that, there was nothing. If, I'm just asking that someone sit down with me and please explain what's going on, because I think I could understand. And I'm really concerned that the board might not understand what's going on, especially if I'm been talking to everybody else. I understood what Rick just said. I could hear that, but I just feel like I need to know what's going on. This is my livelihood. I'm very concerned about support staff and different people that are in different financial situations than myself. I've been here for a long, long time, and in a different spot in my life where my house is, you know, more paid off and other things like that. But the people that work here are my family, and they're my friends. And this what I think I understand is gonna happen. It's gonna be a great impact on them. You know, I came to this district because of the benefits. I stayed because of our great kids. I stayed because of you, great people, and I stayed because of everybody here. But I please ask that you really, really, really think about this, and please, if you're going to make a decision tonight, please understand it, because I just don't, and I'm really trying. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen, please.
As most of you know, my name is Karen Grieve, and I have been with the Bayfield School for some 24 years in the Pupil Services Department. Thank you for this time to express my ideas regarding insurance, and specifically communication in our district. Others attend this meeting have or will be addressing specific data regarding a proposed insurance plan, which you very much heard from Rick and others, while I would like to specifically address communication. A few months ago, several staff voluntarily met after school with a nonpartisan representative to discuss possible insurance adjustments. The meeting closed with the understanding that we would be meeting again to review and discuss the representative's findings. However, no additional meetings or communications occurred regarding findings, and as Barb said, that meeting was in January. The next formal discussion took place at the recent financial committee meeting, which some of you are on. I am deeply dedicated to public education and am proudly committed to the school district of Bayfield. I recognize the public service we are all a part of, while I am also deeply concerned by the communication template we adhere to. We adhere to a vertical, hierarchical communication paradigm, which can serve a specific purpose for specific decisions, yet it is also archaic and old school in many ways. We also adhere to horizontal, collaborative communication, which too serves a specific purpose. As a public institution, when decisions are veiled as collaborative, we are no longer upholding the tenets of democracy, but instead have become autocratic. In our district, we have unique and abundant qualities. The Red Cliff Anishinaabe, state and nationally awarded teachers and schools, a strong RTI program, Every Teacher a Leader, and trauma-sensitive school initiatives, impact aid and a coinciding fund balance, an august union, a commitment to alternative and place-based education, and much, much more. I believe a successful and productive school district is one in which its members have a voice to ask questions, a voice to propose ideas, a voice to obtain information, a voice to oppose, a voice to support, and especially a voice where decisions of direct impact are being made. In the last couple of months, or few, there were several autocratic decisions made that negatively affected our district. It is my hope that our district can move forward as a democratic public institution where voices are vital to its health, well-being, and success. Miigwech.
All right, do we have anything else from the audience this evening? Approval of the school board minutes, May 8th, 2017, regular school board meeting.
Motion to approve. Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. We are not going to have the quarterly staff report this evening, so we will move into Chris?
Yeah, two things here. First is live streaming of the board meeting. We're doing that now. This is going over YouTube. It's one of the free solutions out there. There's a few others, Facebook Live, and a lot of the other streaming services have free feeds. I looked also into some of the paid solutions and getting more expensive hardware, getting microphones, using some microphones we have around, and we can pay as little or as much as we want to do this. I want to do this as a trial and see how it turns out, and then make some recommendations after we see how well this does for possibly upgrading. But I think, considering the number of users is going to be small, that we do this on the cheap and keep it as cheap as possible. So we'll see how YouTube does, and we'll make course corrections as we go along. I think the biggest thing will be the audio, and if we'll be able to hear all of you and all of your comments. So we'll look at the recording when we're done. The second item was Infinite Campus. You've all got a handout on this. There are concerns brought up by a family about Infinite Campus, the grading system, and errors that they were noting in their students' grades. And I've spent a bunch of time on this. When I initially looked into it, I didn't have any examples to look at, and I didn't see anything wrong. Later on, I talked to the parents and the students and got some more specific examples. And those examples have all been cleared up. There were a number of different errors. There was data entry error. There was gradebook setup error, where the number of points that was set to 100 instead of 50 or whatever the assignment was supposed to be. And then there's some communication errors. One is in the setup of Infinite Campus and the way it displays grades. There's posted grades and there are in-progress grades. Posted grades are the ones that go onto the report card. Those are posted by the teacher specifically during a short time frame, and those are what goes on the report card. But due to timing issues, there may be a discrepancy between those and the in-progress grades. And that's what the parents were seeing on that issue. Talking with campus on that to see if we can make that a little more clear in what the parents see in the portal. Because I looked at their screenshots and I agree it's confusing. I could see why they think that. I also looked at the GPA issues. They had some concerns about the GPAs of their students, and I did not find any problems there. And when I went over the numbers with them, what we found was that they weren't exactly sure how the calculations were done. So I clued them in on how that was done and with information from Infinite Campus. So I think that we're clear on that. For solutions, as I said, I'm talking to Infinite Campus to deal with the display issue. We're also going to have a training in the fall with the teachers. We have a lot of new teachers, and the gradebook interface has changed. So we're going to do a training and make sure that it's very clear that parents are watching these grades, and they can't afford to, to make mistakes when they're entering. So we'll stress that. We'll do a little stress on security issues, just the fact that making sure that nobody leaves their computer open when they leave the room, making sure there's no remembered password so a student could get into their computer or into their gradebook, anything like that. So we'll cover as much as we can with training. Infinite Campus also rolled out a new service this year where there's some enhanced logging of the gradebook. We'll be looking into that, and if it's affordable, we'll get that as well. Then we can nail down these issues to time and people, and just get a little more specific in finding those errors, make it a little bit easier on us. So the good news is I don't think that there's any problems with Infinite Campus, and I think the training will help out a lot. Any questions on any of that?
Well, just one, it says you weren't able to find any GPA errors.
That's correct.
Was all participants okay with that?
Yeah, I was able to show them my calculations, and I asked them if they had anything else that looked incorrect, to please let me know. But all the things that they showed me, I was able to run the calculations, and everything was correct on the Infinite Campus side. So,
Thank you, Chris.
you're welcome.
Thanks, Chris.
May I have a question for Chris?
Yeah.
Was there many teacher errors, or one teacher error, or many classes?
There
or
were
one
2 or 3 classes that I saw where there were data entry errors. It's easy when you're looking at a whole sheet of numbers, and when you're interrupted often. I do this on my spreadsheets too. So things get typed in incorrectly, or they're impartially done because somebody's interrupted, or there's any number of reasons why there might be a data entry error. So we did see a number of them, though. I can think of at least 3 that we talked about. They've all been cleared up, so thank goodness for vigilant parents.
But parents are not part of that monitoring process.
Well, all the grades,
Naturally.
yeah, all the grades are out there on the portal and available for parents, so they can choose whether or not they want to follow up with that or not. But overall, I would really like to see our teachers doing, I'd like everything to be 100% correct on Infinite Campus. If that means double checking all of your numbers, then so be it.
Thank you. All right, 8.1, Board President, members of the district did receive a thank you card. Bayfield School Board and staff, thank you so much for the beautiful plaque. Losing my dad was a complete shock, and one that came with a huge responsibility for me. Knowing my work family was supporting me, and my family meant so much. I truly work for and with a fantastic group of people. Thanks again for everything, Ellie. Do you have anything from any other members? All right, how about future agenda items?
I have a couple. I'd like there to be, a discussion or added to the agenda about the Red Cliff Band and School District MOU. I'd like there to be an update on the staffing pattern discussions that the school board has been discussing. And I'd like there to be discussion, I have shared this with Jeff, about middle school and high school students receiving their schedules prior to the first day of school.
Finance Committee, we did meet, reviewed vouchers, looked at the 2016-17 year-end funding, projections and projects, looked at a math expressions digital package, compensation for the non-affiliated staff, dental insurance renewal, and the 2017-18 health insurance coverage, and the EMC insurance renewal for 17-18. Policy committee.
We did meet, and looked at, employee handbook, the second reading, and there are, is that the one with some changes in a different color?
Yes.
Okay, and what was there was the employee meal and lodging allowance, did you look at that? There was
Here's the agenda.
medication, she asked us to. The employee handbook, meal and lodging, oh, the custodian bus driver position for the point. Leave without pay. Did you, yeah, talked about. And then, yeah, the annual health and emergency operation, information that we get from each parent or guardian for each student. And that would include athletes. And one of the questions I had was, when there's kindergarten roundup, could we give the parents that then? Because they would have a chance to look at it, it would be new to them. And it might make it that much easier then to do the rest. But it's something we'd have to do annually. And then the over-the-counter medication distribution was the other thing that information we got. So it's all here and we'll talk about it tonight, I'm guessing.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Nutrition committee.
Did not meet.
Reports, I'd entertain a motion to receive and place on file reports 8.2.1 and 8.2.2. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.1, Mr. Darian.
Motion to approve vouchers in the tune of $602,184.96.
Is there any discussion? Roll call, Sheila.
Stephanie?
Yes?
Deb?
Yes.
Cindy? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Rocky?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
All right, moving into unfinished business, 10.1.1, consider second reading of employee handbook.
Motion to approve. Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, can you explain the changes, the updates that you want here?
So,
Blue and red.
Yep.
blue would be the most current ones. So, you know, the teachers union had a meeting scheduled for a time to discuss and review and provide input prior to last month's meeting cycle, and unfortunately, that was the day that we had the snow. So they've been unable to meet. I did talk with their president. We had a couple of concerns. One was, item that we had proposed about, absences being reconciled in the district office, and when employees didn't update the Skyward program, that it could be a payroll deduct day. So, that was updated to fall in line with the request from the GPA union president. There's a piece on the Family Medical Leave Act, which was pulled out of the booklet, the employee handbook, to make it a more readable and usable document that gives some better instruction on where to go to find out more information about the Family Medical Leave Act and the fact that they can get assistance in the district business office on that as well. Some changes to the proration of leave time and things of that nature for employees that are less than full-time.
Yeah, my I have a question regarding that, the strikeouts, there's strikeouts through working over 19.5 and then 30 hours, and there's
So-
strikeouts through all of that.
Yep, so, can you give me a page number specifically? Page 8. Yeah, so, it's immaterial how many hours somebody works,
Okay.
because there's a proration based on the amount of time they work. So it doesn't need to list 19.5 hours or 30 hours. If an individual is qualified for sick leave and they're not full-time, but they work enough time where they're gonna receive that leave, then it's prorated based on their percent of employment.
The percent in their particular position?
Yes.
Percent of full-time?
Yes.
What?
Yes, their percent of full-time.
Their percent
Yep.
of full-time?
So the figure for a full-time employee would be used in the calculation and calculated against the percent of the person's employed.
And this was done in conjunction with the BEA?
Both unions had the opportunity to give input on proposed changes.
Any further discussion?
So is that required, that part-time employees regardless, even if they're under 19 hours, whatever the prorated amount is that required?
It's not required.
So part-time employees don't qualify for any, at what point?
Well, they're saying now that all
employees.
employees regardless, and I remember the conversation was that there was a conversation indicating that this was a threshold or something of that.
Well, so the
And now we're
changes
going backwards and saying, no, it's prorated.
for leave time, yes,
Yeah.
it's all around leave time. The conversation that we had the previous month was having a 30-hour threshold for receiving benefits like health insurance. So
Which-
that hasn't changed.
Okay.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
Oh.
It's just leave language.
All those in favor? Opposed? 10.1.2, consider a second reading of policy 671.3, meals and lodging reimbursement. Discussion.
I really wanted to change it so it was more geared towards what the IRS regulations are, and that's what I was doing.
Okay.
A lot of our conferences and things are in high cost areas like Madison and the Dells, and, it just coincides more with what the IRS does.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 10.1.3, consider second reading of custodian and bus driver district-wide position description.
Motion approved.
Second.
Discussion. favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 10.1.4, consider Xcel Energy easement request.
Second.
Discussion.
Do we have any paperwork on that?
What you had last
We had
month.
last month.
Just for the record, I visited it about 2 weeks prior to last month, with Scott and myself, the site.
I also did walk it with the district and with Xcel and
Can
with
you
Wayne
show us
Nelson.
exactly where that line is?
It's literally,
5 feet.
yes, it's right exactly in the corner. It crosses right here. There's a landowner discrepancy is what it is that's on, it would be to the west side. So that little corner would be where they would access the district's property. There'll be zero cutting of any trees, there'll be nothing. It calls for a 15-foot easement, but it was, even if it's 15 feet, it's on the corner of the property that is right on the edge of a clear-cut area, so it's nowhere near. And the district, there will not be a power pedestal put there. That's all it is a box with a loop pulled up. It can sit there for 100 years, and if you want power, you can tap into it and run. You know, at the district's expense, anything, I believe it's over 300 feet, the district would have to pay for it. But the power will be there if needed. If not, it can stay there and never be used.
The reason they need 15 feet is because the excavating equipment need room to work. The line is set at 5 feet, but there's 7.5 feet on both sides.
And this is just to get electricity to the plot that they want to develop that's adjacent. So what we do for our last motion?
Well, it just died because you did not have, you had a tie, so, yep. So we got other issues there too. Town of Russell needs development, that's a form of development. The 5 feet gives the opportunity for the school district in the future to gain access to power, but also economic development wise, it brings tax revenue to the town of Russell. So,
Any further discussion? I'm gonna ask for a roll call on this, Sheila.
Stephanie Brzett,
Yes.
Deb Knopf,
Yes.
Cindy Garrity,
Yes.
Craig Putman,
Yes.
Rocky Turbidge,
yes.
Larry Garrigan,
Yes.
Nicole Boyd.
Yes.
All right, moving into new business, 10.2.1, consider strategic plan next step. Kevin?
Mr. Gutman,
I
fellow
didn't call
board
you.
members, thank you for having me again. The packet that you have in front of you is very close to a finished strategic planning document from your perspective. It includes an overview of the district and the work that's being done on strategic planning. It includes mission, vision, and belief statements. It also includes the strategic priorities for 2018 through 2022. The piece that we should work on tonight is on page 3. It's the mission, vision, and belief statements. Specifically, there are 2 versions of a mission statement, your current mission statement and the alternative that we landed on at the last meeting, and current vision statement and the proposed new one that we landed on at the last meeting. So let's look at mission statement. Your current mission statement is, the school district of Bayfield will support the educational and developmental growth of each and every student while utilizing available resources in a respectful and prudent manner. That is your current mission statement. The alternate that we landed on at last meeting for consideration for tonight is, the school district of Bayfield supports the educational and developmental growth of every student to become responsible adults. So I open it up for discussion about these 2 statements. We seemed to land on the idea that simple, straightforward is a better way to look at mission statements. It is easier for everyone to put their arms around it, to know and understand it. Mission statement is about who you are as a district. So I open up for discussion about mission statement.
I like the alternate.
The alternate, okay.
I do too.
Brevity.
Any other discussion about mission statement? Here's what will happen. At the next meeting, you will get an entire document that will be your strategic document that you will vote on. So tonight is to try to eliminate this, to get down to one choice for each mission and vision. Next meeting, you'll see the entire document and be able to vote on its entirety. Any other comments about the mission statement?
I still have the first one.
All right, Larry, thank you for that. Any other comments? Okay, let's move on to vision statements. The current vision statement, again, vision statement is what you want to become. The School District of Bayfield is a data-driven learning organization committed to educating students in a safe environment that encourages and values the individual learner. District education is grounded in respect for diversity, reflection, exploration, and action. The alternate version that we landed on at the last meeting is, the School District of Bayfield provides a safe environment that encourages and values the individual learner. Education is centered on data-driven performance and student outcomes. Just to give you a recap of the discussion last month, we wanted to make sure that we included the information about diversity, reflection, exploration, and action. Those things appear in the belief statements on the following page. So we didn't eliminate them, but they really fit into that Strive for 5 belief statements on the next page.
I like the alternate version because the current version focuses first on data-driven learning, and I think that's a component, but I don't think it's the most important.
Okay, good. Other feedback?
I think the alternate says what we want to say. I'm
Okay.
satisfied with that one. I like it too.
Okay. So with your permission, I will bring a final version of the strategic plan back for your consideration at the next meeting to vote in its entirety. So it would include the overview, mission, vision, belief statements, and strategic priorities for 2018 through 2022. And that will come before you at the next meeting for approval as an entire document. Does that make sense? Any questions about that?
Yeah, I don't have a question about that process, but you know, and I'm just the fly in the ointment always, but I'm like, how are we defining responsible? And that, I guess we have to kind of determine that that's going to be, if we're gonna keep that an open-ended definition, you know, because we each have a perspective, and each student is going to, you know what I mean, each family, each depending on your values, depending on how you value success, how you value, you know, that word may be difficult to define, you know, just that's a part of me that's searching in my head for other words, but you know what I'm getting at?
I agree with you.
I like the concept, but
Mhm.
it's a word that defies definition.
And I think it's individual in its thought, not only for each of you, but also for each student.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I like it, because we originally talked about responsible adults.
Yeah.
We also talked about successful lives, and those seem to be much more weighted in what we want other people to be.
Yeah.
Where I think that this statement is much more about to become, not about the end result, but the process to get there, which I like.
To become.
To become. Some of us are still working on it.
Yeah, there's no timeline on here.
Thanks for that.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen.
So we'll bring a document to you for approval at next month's meeting, and thank you for all your hard work on this. I think that it's a much stronger document because of your diligence in having discussions like this about what do the words mean to each of us. So thank you for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
10.2.2, consider 2016-17 year-end funding projections and projects. Randy?
Yes, I know in the finance meeting, we talked about how fluid this number is, and I do have to say, it's still in process. We did get word from DPI that we had a lot more, open enroll out than in, by like 65,000, so, so now I think my latest projection is about 72,000 that we have to roll forward. A little less in the revenue, and again, it's, I'm sure in July we'll come with a new one, and we have until July 30th to make the transfers to, the deferred maintenance fund.
So we're seeing students continuing to open enroll
Yes,
a higher level.
at a higher rate. And then also, my projection for next year's budget too, I would have to increase that, I think, a lot, maybe by like 80,000 for next year's budget.
80,000, excuse me,
Yeah,
for
that's,
open enrollment out?
I'm thinking so. Again, we don't know with what the budget's gonna be like, but that's just a consideration for that also. That I'll be bringing forward. The Bayfield painting, that's for, La Pointe School. So that's something that does fall within the maintenance budget. The Dairyland fence, it's to repair the north side, and that is the maintenance budget. The gym improvements, that was approved at the May board meeting. The Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, which is in the packet too, that was some discrepancy with, 5 years or 6 years of pre-order, right? The wiring project, that is through Novato, and they've done a lot of our, wiring, so they know our building, and it's just part of the maintenance and upgrades. Also requesting OPEB transfers, we look at that every year and transfer what, is in our projection. Also the playground, earthwork, tree removal. There's a huge tree down on the playground that needs to be removed, and then some earthwork that needs to be done. And that's again, maintenance budget. And then trailers for bikes. We have currently bikes kept in a shed in the back. We'd like to have a trailer to house the bikes, so, I know Mark O'Neill is one of the teachers that really utilizes the bike slot. He can just hook up to the trailer and go. He doesn't have to take them out of one place, put them in another place, then take them out of there and put them in there. So that's what that request is for.
Thanks, Randy.
Thanks,
Thank
Randy.
you.
Entertain a motion, we don't have a motion or second on this, I'll make the motion for this.
Second.
Any further discussion?
We're receiving and placing this on file. All right.
Pardon, Deb? I didn't hear you.
So we're just putting this on file for now until we get the final numbers?
No, this is all budgeted.
Okay.
So
These are
we're
all
just
budgeted
talking about the
items.
302, yeah.
Pardon?
Just the 302, right,
Yes.
okay.
Ask for a roll call on this.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Rocky?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
10.2.3, consider math expressions digital package. Discussion. Roll call, Cecilia?
Nicole?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Rocky?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Cindy? Deb?
Yeah.
And Stephanie?
Yes.
10.2.4, consider dental insurance renewal.
Motion approved. 0% increase.
Luckily, some good news, no increase on our dental insurance.
Should we get a second on this?
Second.
Let's go roll call also on that, Julie.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Rocky?
Yes.
Gary?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
10.2.5, consider 2017-18 health insurance coverage.
Motion approved with WA trust option.
I'll second it, roll it to discussion.
In discussion is, I'm just thinking of what Rick had to say about his options here. Is anything like that been looked at?
For our initial budget, I did increase the impact aid to 1.6 million. That is in our initial budget for next year already.
Okay.
As far as impact aid though, I would love to say that that was an item we can build around.
Right.
These checks are coming in 3, 4 years beyond, yeah, sometimes 6 years.
I know in the President Trump's initial budget, impact aid goes away. We got 1.8 million this year. I know that budget, I assume, is dead on arrival, is what I've heard through the legislation, but,
That's a projection,
right.
up and down. All I'm saying is that where this district is heading, we need to save money. We don't wanna lay anybody off, that's the bottom line. And I'm probably not a very light person here tonight, but I'm gonna be honest about it. We don't cut our costs. And 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000, and the HRA, I'm sorry. Dave Vassal said it correctly the other night at our finance meeting. We have had a good run at this district. I've been part of this board for many years. I've seen 15% increase in years. We've weathered that. We've done it. We respect everybody that works for this district, past, present, and future. But we have to look at cutting something because tomorrow's future is not that great. We can't scrap the people from this district that constantly gets hit all the time with taxes. Each and every one of us in this room pay taxes, whether it's here or someplace else, in other districts. That's the bottom line. And I stand in that motion.
So when we talk about shopping around for insurances and stuff like that, what does that consist of?
So it consisted of a couple of different pieces. One was the focus group meeting that, some people referenced earlier in the board meeting tonight, where Jeff Steckbauer from M3 got some input from staff from all employee groups about features and benefits that people felt were important in the health insurance. So he took then the census information on our district's employees and the usage rating and sought quotes from different carriers based on that. And WEA Trust, of course, provided a quote, and we had a quote come in from WPS, which manages a trust that CISA 12 has put together on it. We also had, we had some companies not want to bid on it because, what became evident is that we had very high usage of our health insurance in the past year, and that's why you see the increase of 9.9% come forward. So, some of those companies just declined to provide a quote on it based on the risk that our group currently represents. So that's what it was, Larry, just getting input on what people wanted to see. It was from that then putting out the request for proposal to get quotes from different companies, and then bringing that information back and providing contingencies.
Okay.
I can't speak for the amount, but, you know, the Act 10 is 5 years old now. So with the couple of big pieces within it that have hit all public employees, you know, is the having to pay half of the retirement contribution and then having to pay the 12+% of the healthcare.
I just know that, you know, in education, everything that I've been reading is talking about how people aren't going out for teaching degrees. You don't see colleges graduating teachers, so it's gonna be a much more limited field, and the competition to get good teachers is going to get tougher and tougher and tougher. And we live in a district that has a history of being a challenge, having a district with challenge, being a district with many challenges, and I really am concerned about, not being able to compromise somehow, rather than going to this big jump all of a sudden and seeing what it's doing to teachers that are trying to get started here and how that is affecting their, so I'm against going to this at this point. I'm not convinced that we can't still have some kind of health savings to help supplement that. I think it's really important.
Less staff?
Less staff?
Well, we did,
Well, that's what I feel like the compromise is, like Rocky's saying, like, do we lay people off to
That's
make
my
this
fear.
compromise? Because
And
we
I
have such
mentioned-
low class to adult ratios. I mean, the reports we get is that some classes have 5 kids. 5 kids, and they're failing kids. That data does not show me proof to say that their outcomes high. And I look at the chart of the CISA to show comparable districts, and Bayfield is one of 2. With the deductibles as low as they are, they're one of 2 in our whole CISA district. I don't have proof and support to move forward and say that the teachers are always the number 1, because the kids should be the number 1.
I'm not in education, but looking at this time and time and time again, and looking at every month we sit here. Everyone in the audience, you heard $600,000 this month. $600,000 to keep these lights on and keep the heat on and the AC and fix the roof. And it's overwhelming. I don't wanna see any cut. This sucks. For $1,500 a year for us to sit here and we have to make these decisions in front of all of our friends and family, it sucks. But we're looking at I don't know, it's, you know, like Mr. Erickson said, I wish, Rick, we could do that. If we could bank on impact aid, I do. I've said that from the minute I got on this board, and when people went to Washington and said, if anything comes out of this, bring something back to the board that says, impact aid, why don't we get it? Why don't we know when we're gonna get it? Why don't we know how much we're gonna get? We've never seen that. So for us, look at a fund balance with $5 million. Randy Johnson can attest to this. A lot of times, at the end of the year, we're right down to nothing. That is the only thing that's saving this district, which is one of few in the state that does short-term borrowing. We do not do that. That is a blessing that we don't have to do that. My fear is that if we don't start to take some steps right now, that there will be less FTEs in this district. And I don't think that's a good thing either. I don't know, but I know we're carrying the same FTEs when we had 460 students. It's the exact same number of employment in this building, and now we're under 400. So if Dave has an answer, and I think he would have told us, we sat down and talked to Randy. I'm up for any ideas, because I don't want to do this either. I'm looking at your faces. I don't want to do this. But I don't know what can we cut? What are we gonna give up? what can we give up, because something has to change, because the money is not there, and we know it's not gonna be there from year to year to year.
Just like Randy said, it was enrollment, projections. I mean, I look at it this way, it isn't a fear, it's a reality. We're in the reality stage.
So
There's no
if we
reality
factor in.
TV or whatever. All I'm saying is that we need this district, employees, staff, whoever, us as school board members, we have to look at the reality. That's what's happening. And we all gotta come together to say, how do we make this district move forward in continuance? Because here we are in 2017, this is June. Continuance, if we have people that are open enrolling out of this district, the numbers that they have, we don't even have to worry in 5 years about having a school board. That's what we gotta look at. It's collective thinking, collaboration, getting together, rolling up our sleeves. It's not about teaching staff, it's not about support staff, not about administration, and it sure as hell isn't about school board. We need to all get together and move forward to exist in this new wave of the future.
I don't wanna pay, I can only speak for myself, I don't wanna pay any more than I'm paying right now.
My suggestion is calls first.
I'm gonna ask for a roll call on this, Sheila.
Is this something we have to vote tonight? Is it,
No, you have a
is it
September
time
1st
sensitive?
renewal, so you have, no, you don't have to vote on it.
September first, when do they usually like, I'm not sure when they usually want those ready to go.
Is it the wishes of the board?
You know, and
I made the motion to accept the option.
you know, I guess, and, you know, you're talking about impact aid. I've been around here a long time, and I've always heard the same argument every year about impact aid, but it's always there. Maybe they don't give you the date it's gonna come in. Maybe they don't tell you that you're gonna get it in one lump sum, but it's always there.
They don't give you the year.
Well,
You know, the challenge we've had with impact aid since sequestration came out is that there's not a hard, fast
but it never.
figure. Well, for sequestration, in this district, it was estimated quite closely every year based on, a figure called LOT, Learning Opportunity Threshold. And the challenge with sequestration is that has changed every year. So, you know, it's just not a reliable
You mean the dollar amount, not the-
environment. Yeah, it's just not a reliable environment with sequestration on to say, here's what that impact aid is gonna look like. And, you know, the challenge you face as a school district is you're in the last month of your fiscal year. So, just the money you have on hand now, you know, that's for this fiscal year, and you start, you know, a new book with new balances on the 1st of July. So it's not like your own checkbook where you can roll things forward.
But this plan wouldn't go into effect until September 1st?
1st of September is your renewal date. Yep, whatever you decide to do, it
So
goes
there's
into
some
force.
time.
Just like Randy said, Bill, for example, was that underneath the current administration federally, it goes away completely. We don't know yet.
Well, that changes.
No, but
20
impact aid changes too, that's my point.
Mhm.
We're supposed to get 1.6, 1.7, 1.5, whatever the number is. We might get 1.1, might get 900,000, take 6 more years to collect the rest. That doesn't mean, by those budget terms, those are thrown out in that budget sequence of the federal government. They can say, you know what, you only got 900,000, proposed 1.6 million 5 years ago, we're not giving anything. That's what can happen from budgets to budgets. So like Larry was saying, is that we can always count on it. No, you can't.
You may not be able to count on the dollar amount, but you're always gonna be able to count and know that impact aid is gonna be there. It's just gonna be there.
Well, it will, Larry, but when we build a budget, we set a salary schedule, that's in a budget. That ends at the end of this month.
Mhm.
Because when that money comes back in, that money can't be dispersed out into that. That goes back into a general fund or capital improvements. That's just the way the system works.
It's like inflation. you're supposed to get appropriated money in that given year. 5 years later, what does inflation do? That dollar bill that you're supposed to get is already deflated. You're saying Twinkies that you would get for $1.280 is now $5.
No, they aren't, just $2 I bought them today.
No, for $1.80.
But I know that this impact aid has I mean, it's been, remember Bert Henry? He'd stand in front of us with
I remember
charts.
Bert Henry very
I
well.
bet you did. And he would stand with charts and say, how come you can't count on this? And then it was we found out that, no, it did come in. It's no fun hanging because we never know exactly when it's coming, but it always eventually came in.
Also, do I understand correctly that our number of 400 students includes the ones who have opted out that we have to pay for? So we're really down to about 350.
350 in the building? And when you said 460, that was?
No, that was
460?
years ago.
Right.
That was 5 years ago.
5 years ago, and that was in the building?
That was-
Or was that that
Yep,
included?
so when you get pupil counts, that's the counts that we're reporting to the DPI and now, so.
So 465 years ago, and now what did you report to the DPI this year?
What was our last one, Sheila?
It was 403.
403.
There was about 41 open enrollment out.
Well, I'll ask again, what's the board's wishes?
Call the question.
I'm gonna ask for a roll call on this, Sheila.
Stephanie Brissette,
And this is to accept the WVA trust, is that your motion? Option? Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yes.
yes. Deb Knopf,
No.
Cindy,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Rocky,
Yes.
Larry,
Reluctantly, yes.
Nicole.
Yes.
Consider first reading of policy 453.1, Exhibit 1, Annual Health and Emergency Information.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 10.2.7, consider first reading of policy 453.4, Exhibit 2, over-the-counter medication. Discussion.
Are these the ones you're asking about going out?
No, well, part of it, yeah.
They go in the student handbook. So parents get them every year.
Looking to get them in our parents' hands as early as we can, because at the start of the school year, there's a lot of paper that comes home that needs to be read and signed.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 10.2.8, consider first reading of policy 532.2, leaves without pay.
Yep, looking to strike an old policy that's now part of your employee. Yes. Maybe about the first one of those that we brought to the.
Like the whole thing's.
I'll
read.
second it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 10.2.9, consider compensation for non-affiliated staff. Discussion? Roll call, Sheila.
Nicole,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Rocky,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
and Stephanie.
Yes.
10.2.10, consider a letter of resignation, Nancy Larson.
Motion approved. Second.
Go ahead.
Is there any discussion?
Who made that motion, I'm sorry?
Rocky seconded.
Okay, thank you.
those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 10.2.11, consider adoption of social studies curriculum.
Motion approved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 10.2.12, ratify cut contract for 2017-18. I'll second it.
Stephanie did, you couldn't hear.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry. Let's do a roll call on this also, Sheila.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Rocky?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Last item, 10.2.13, consider EMS insurance renewal for 2017-18.
What is that?
Star liability.
Oh, okay.
Liability for what?
So it's our vehicles
Oh,
for our
vehicles,
buildings.
property.
And also as our workers' compensation insurance.
Wow.
Motion approved.
Yeah.
Good job.
I'll second it.
Oh, crap.
This is also increases
We've
on.
had some really high workers' comp claims in the past couple
Yep.
of years, and $11,000.
That's for roll call on this also, Sheila?
Nicole?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Rocky?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Item number 11, adjourn to executive session according to Wisconsin statute 1985.
Second.
Superintendent exit interview.